So I was talking to a fella who had made the move from California to Florida, and he was telling me that Florida is much better governed, safer, better budget, lower taxes, all this stuff. And he was really happy with the quality of life. And then he paused and he said, "Oh, by the way, I'm Gavin Newsom's father-in-law."
Whoops! I got to say, Gavin Newsom, he's got a poker face. No expression at all when DeSantis caught him on that one. Florida governor and 2024 presidential candidate Ron DeSantis telling California's Gavin Newsom that Newsom's own father-in-law prefers Florida over California. It was a pretty heated debate last night. Joining me now is Point Bridge Capital founder and CEO and GOP megadonor who is backing Ron DeSantis, Hal Lambert. So how do you think your guy did last night?
Oh, I think he did fantastic. You know, that clip was pretty funny. And as you said, you know, Gavin completely ignored it. He didn't address that at all. He pretended like it wasn't said because he can't defend the fact that, you know, literally over 750,000 people have moved out of California in the last couple of years, and over 1 million have gone to Florida. So he can't defend that record. People are voting with their feet. And as was said last night, they ran out of U-Hauls in California because so many people have left the state and continue to leave the state.
Right. Well, he actually lied. I mean, let's be clear about what happened. And he said it barefaced, again, with that perfect poker face. But DeSantis caught it on it. We went back. The Sacramento Bee quoted the US Census Bureau. I don't think you can argue with that. Showed that 50,000 people moved from California to Florida between 2021 and 2022, and only 28,000 moved from Florida to California. So by over 20,000, there were more people going from California to Florida. So it's just dead wrong.
Yeah, he lied about that. He lied about multiple things. I mean, he talked about their education system being great and how, you know, they're last in the country in 8th grade reading. Like, it was just kind of lie after lie. And he does it, as you said, with a great smile on his face, doesn't blink at all. And it's unfortunate because the average person isn't going to be able to go look up these, and you can't fact check everything in a debate like that instantaneously. So he gets away with it to much of the dismay of the country. He does get away with it some because DeSantis is countering it, but then it becomes, oh well, that's what DeSantis said versus what he said. Who knows what's true or not? Well, we all know what's true. More people have left California and the first time ever lost population as a state. First time ever.
By the way, we've got a beautiful graphic. I want to give us a chance to put that up because we spent some time putting it together. Just saying what you said, that people vote with their feet. They vote with their feet, and that is a better indicator, frankly, than a lot of elections. When you have 1 million people leaving California and 700,000 people moving to, 1 million people left California, 700,000 moved to Florida between 2019 and 2022. That shows what's happening. The problem is for you, Hal, that DeSantis does keep giving up votes to Trump, at least in these polls. We just got a new Messenger Harris poll out saying that Trump's at 68% and DeSantis is at 9%. So I just have to ask, I know DeSantis is your guy, but if it turns out to be Donald Trump, who's the GOP nominee, would you still go for Trump over the Democrat?
Yeah, I'm going to support our nominee for sure. I mean, you can't. Biden is ruining the country, and if it's not Biden, if it's Gavin Newsom, we certainly don't want what's happened to California to happen to the rest of the country. So we've got to support our ultimate nominee. I would just say this: those are national polls. Iowa's coming up in mid-January, as we all know. That's going to be the key state for Governor DeSantis. He's doing everything right there. He's got more endorsements than even Ted Cruz had when he won the state in 2016. He's got the money. He's got the ground game. He's got the governor. If he can win that state, I think all these polls go out the window as we move to the next state.
But you would go for Trump if he was the nominee eventually next summer. We do now have Lee Carter with us. We were having trouble with her connections. Lee, I'm sorry that we only have about a minute left for you, but is there any chance, despite his good showing last night, that DeSantis could beat out Trump for the nomination?
It seems very unlikely at this point that look, we've seen that anything and everything can and will happen in politics. So, yes, something could happen, but I don't really see any sign that there could be any chance. We're looking at polls with 60% spreads, and not just one, but many. So there's a long way to come. I think DeSantis did have a great performance last night, but I'm not sure it was a knockout performance that he needs to knock out Trump.
And I got to give some time to Newsom, because obviously, even if he doesn't become the nominee in 2024, he wants to become one eventually. He strikes me, unlike Biden, who hasn't pivoted at all to the center, just staying on the far left in terms of his policies. He strikes me more as somebody like Clinton, who could make deals with Republicans. Do you agree with that? I mean, in the beginning of his governorship, he did sort of govern more to the center. Do you think he would do that as president if he's ever elected?
Well, I think he's demonstrating that he's at least willing to have conversations with folks on the right. And you look, he came on Fox News.
Yeah, that's true.
President Biden ignored tradition, did not go on Fox after the Super Bowl. When that is the presidential tradition, he wouldn't even show up then. You've got Gavin Newsom, who's come. He debated DeSantis. He's done interviews on Fox. He went into the spin room after the Republican debate. So he's clearly willing to engage, and I think that's a good sign for him.
Hal and Lee, thank you so much. Lee, again, I'm so sorry we didn't have much time for you, but I appreciate you both being here.